Our stream is running nice and good. We're about to go running. Sorry for that delay. As we were handling some business. So here we go. Right. As we begin our beautiful, wonderful, amazing run. Right, with all of you guys to watch and enjoy, right? It's like you guys are running with us, right? As we make our way through the city. Or we would call this more like a forest, right? Some place where you know, can enjoy some nature, right? It's such a cool, beautiful thing to do, right? Far too often neglected in this day and age, right? Where so many people want to go out and explore the nightlife, right? Different restaurants and clubs and bars. You know, at least for me, I take pride. I enjoy, you know, being able to go outside, you know, smell the scents, hear the sounds of nature, right, as they naturally occur, right? Because so many people, you know, simply don't, right? It almost makes me unique, right? It gives me something cool to do that I know that few people do as well, right? It almost makes me extra special, right? Because, you know, so many people almost feel the need, you know, to do crazy fun stuff, but they may automatically think that it requires them, you know, to go out and spend extravagant amounts, you know, of money and put on some nice clothes and go out. But, you know, for us, we're just out here running, just throw on a pair of shorts and shoes, right? We don't even have a shirt on, right? We're just out here running because it's too hot to wear anything more, right? As we, you know, make our way. But, you know, essentially for you, figure out different ways you can be unique, right? There's so many different options, right? That's the glory of life, right? There's no necessary right or wrong way to do it, right? In terms of living your life, right? You have the freedom to choose whatever you want to do with it, right? With that time that you are allotted, right? Given. And, you know, once it's over, it's over. But, you know, while you're here, why not have some fun, but the way you want to? And, you know, it's going to take some thinking, right? Some personal self-reflection, because we far too often can be caught in these loops of, I would call, people pleasing. And well, it's great to help other people, right? Donate your time, your money, your attention, right? These things can be awesome and great, but if we do it too much, right, to the point to where we lose our sense of self, right, individuality, right, what makes us happy, right? That's should be your starting point, and you venture out from there, right? Like your body, your mind is your temple, right? Your house, your place of residence. And wherever you go, you are venturing out of your house, right, to wherever it is that you want to go. As we have someone blocking our way, blocking the crosswalk, but it's okay, it's all right. But as we were saying, you know, having your mind, your body as your temple is the starting point for everything, you know, in the world, right? As you go and fight your battles, you tackle it. And, you know, essentially as we cross around this person, right, can you imagine not having a home or living, you know, in something without a roof, right? Without enclosure, right? People can break in on, you know, horrible weather elements can slip inside, right? You're susceptible to so many different dangers if you don't take care of your temple, right? Your house. And your body, your mind is the same way, right? What you want to do with it is important, right? Build it up, right? Make the walls strong and sturdy. And, you know, you're gonna be able to venture out of it with comfort, with security, right? Your temple will be a source of pride, right? People may even visit it as a museum one day, right? If you build with a D, things that are great enough, right? Worthy of people's respect, right? And yes, while there's no concrete definition of that, but essentially, think about it, right? The more work you do on yourself, you know, the more improvement you will see, and the more likely you will earn the respect of people, right? Gain admirers, a following, and, you know, people will start to remember your name. But it all starts with yourself, right? Not trying to people please so much, right? Because the people pleasing will lead to you getting taken advantage of, right? You'll be satisfying other people's needs and not yourself. And, you know, essentially, as we have someone, whoa, we have so much going on right now, but we are still making our way around. And, right, you see so many people do this. They're so worried about their boss's needs, about their so-called friends' needs, right? They feel inclined to, you know, spend time with them even when they don't want to, right? It's so crazy, so interesting, right? Why we do these things, right? Even though they may not be within our best interests, right? I almost can't relate to that, right? If I want to hang out with somebody, I will hang out with them. If I don't want to, I won't. I don't feel like I owe anybody anything, right? Just like I shouldn't feel that they owe anything to me. And yes, of course, if you run into a lot of debt, the IRS will come after you, right? Because you owe them. But life doesn't necessarily work that way, right? So throughout all the different things that you do, realize that you're doing it for you, right? Not necessarily everyone else, because it was your decision to do it, right? Whether you wanted to do it or not. Nobody is forcing you to do anything. And yes, while people may pressure you, they may hold, you know, different rewards and potential great things for you if you help them. You don't have to. You don't want to. And, you know, it's not necessarily to be confused with one of the great things you can do in life is give, right? You don't want to just receive. It leads to a selfish, I would even say empty existence, right? You're just living for you, whatever you can attain, right? You're not creating big, beautiful things that other people can look at and enjoy, right? Those beautiful gifts that many people are able to enjoy and receive. But necessarily, you know, those gifts came about through hard work, right? Someone's blood, sweat, and tears, right? Everything around us, from this strip mall, you know, to these nice office buildings, right? It took someone, you know, taking the time out of their day to start the development of it, right? And then construction workers to build it, and then employees to manage it, right? And keep it afloat, right? It's all the work of a team of people, a bunch of different individuals, right? You have to realize that there's only so much you could do on your own, right? And you know, that's okay, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help, right? It's okay, it's all right, because so many of the great, big, beautiful things in this life are built by teams, right? Super Bowl championships, NBA finals, trophies are not won by one person. Although there might be MVPs, right? Most valuable player awards, right? Given out. Essentially, it still can't be done without the team, right? This holistic group of individuals with a common goal working together. Hello. Essentially, right? Think about that, right? It'd be almost like you trying here to beat LeBron James times 10, right? And winning the championship, or at least times 5 or 4, right? Because you can probably argue that just 4 LeBron Jameses on a court can win a finals. But you know, if it's just LeBron James on his own against 5, you can even classify, you know, regular, normal, non-NBA people, he's gonna get destroyed, right? There's always gonna be an opening, a hole in the defense, right? Instead of 1 defender on him, there's gonna be 5 or 4 and a rebounder, right? So why not take this idea to heart, right? And can you imagine, you know, if there's 6 of them, the court 7, right? Because in the NBA, you might be limited to having 5 players on the court at once, but in life, very often, the amount of people in your team is unlimited, right? It's unrestricted, right? People don't think about this, right? Can you imagine if NBA teams, you know, were allowed to have infinite players playing on the court at once, right? They would be recruiting and recruiting and recruiting, right? They would be, you know, very team oriented, right? Figuring out who's good at what, right? And honing their teams on that, right? And in business and life, there's no cap to it. There's no limit to the amount of people you can get or recruit on your side, right? And you know, essentially, that's what it boils down to, right? Because given that opportunity, a potential infinite source of growth, right? Because it is truly infinite, right? With the, because you are limited in the things one person could do, but imagine an infinite number, right? Everybody in the world helping for one cause, right? And that's even a direct example of that would come from the Tower of Babel, right? That old tale, right? Because they realized that the power of so many people working together towards a common cause, you know, how effective that would be, right? It's almost a threat to a society, a government, right? And they sought out to stop it, to eliminate it, right? Because they recognized how powerful it was. And you know, essentially in life, you got to think about that, right? Think about who can potentially help you and who cannot, right? Because you're able to get as many friends, as many helpers as you possibly can, right? There's no limit. So really think about that and try not to make so many enemies, right? So many people walk around with anger, hostility, right? We can be very angry right now at this traffic, right? Blocking us in the crosswalk from crossing, but you know, us getting angry, screaming and yelling, you know, how effective can that possibly be, right? Because all it's gonna do is possibly alienate, you know, the other people, right? Become a threat and make them very defensive, right? Make them not want to engage with me, want to avoid me, get angry at me, right? That's not the right way to go about things, to go about your business, right? And you know, so many people don't do this, right? They let the smallest of aspects, here as we're gonna spit, get to their head, right? And we're gonna check on the stream to see how it's doing, but it should be nice and good as we make our way through. Whoa, our stream is looking pretty good. Pretty good. As we make our way, making my way downtown. Man, it is hot as shit. You guys don't know, but man, it is hot over here. But you know, essentially, what do you got to do, right? Think about ways you can attract good people into your life, and essentially those good people will open doors for you. But you got to remember that you can't walk around with your hands open, right, asking for things. You just have to let goodness come to you. But here's the kicker, right? You just have to put yourself in position for that goodness to come. We would even call it luck, but I hate it, despise it when people say that they got lucky, right? I hate it because in order to get lucky, it requires a certain amount of work, right? The whole work is in putting yourself in the position to get lucky. What's up, man? And you know, the rest is not up to you, right? Your work is in showing up to the interview, going to school, going to work. We almost saw that Domino's car was on that Lamborghini. Right? That would have been interesting. It would have had a little bit of a talking point, right, based on the way it was parked. Why would a Lamborghini be delivering Domino's? But who knows, right? That'd be for fun. And that even reminds us, right, why it's so cool to go against the norm, right? So many people walk around with so many preconceived notions, right, as to how things should be, right? My life will only be good if I had so-and-so amount of money, so-and-so amount of fame, right, and attention and followers. But what little do they realize is that a lot of the greatness in life just comes from being different. And this difference can be attributed in simply being yourself, right? Doing the things that you want to do, right? That no one can tell you otherwise, right? Just like what we're doing here. You know, there might be people that disagree with it, that don't want us to do it, and there might be people that think it's cool. But regardless, I'm listening to myself, right? Asking myself, do I truly want to do this? Do I want to run and juggle and do this craziness, right? This thing that's so unique and different. It's so me, right? I almost have it attached as a part of myself, right? If I would abandon this idea, I wouldn't be true to myself. Hey, such a big, yeah, what's up, man? Hello. Right, and you have people that react like that, different stuff, which is cool. But you essentially have to ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? But because regardless of whether or not you can even disconnect yourself, time is going to pass. And by simply doing nothing, you're doing something, but you're just wasting time, throwing it away, right? The time is just gonna keep going and going and going, but you're always gonna have that decision every day on what you're gonna do with your time, right? You wake up and you're a little bit tired, right? You're gonna get the decision, do you want to stay in bed, lay down and be a vegetable, or do you want to push yourself and get up and go to work, right? Go read a book, go to the gym, prove yourself, right? These decisions, whether or not you like them, are coming your way every day, I would even say every hour and every minute, right, we're faced with choices, right? That's the beauty of life, right? What makes you free, right? Not so much about having particular freedom, right? Because people locked up, you know, in jail still have choices, right? Do they want to sit and be angry and cry all day, possibly start a fight with somebody? Or do they want to use the time, you know, that they have in prison productively, constructively, right? Reading a bunch of different books. Some even get educations and degrees, right? Make time, you know, useful, right? Work out. You know, that's why the whole thing of the prison body is so cool, so unique, right? So many of them, even though they may not have so much equipment, right? There's no LA Fitness in any jail, but they're able to make use of little and make up some pretty inventive, cool ways to work out and get stronger, right, within what they have, right? So cool, so awesome, right? The innovation, right? When people are truly backed into a corner and, you know, left with essentially nothing but their mind, right? How strong, how powerful that is. That tool that you have at your disposal, right? Far too often it's neglected, right? People don't trust themselves, right? They're not free thinkers, right? They're essentially living other people's lives, right? And essentially cheating themselves, right? Cheating their opportunity, right? To do the things that they've always wanted to do with their life, right? Essentially, right? Become great inventors, artists, bodybuilders, whatever it is. But, you know, by you not chasing your dreams, your vision, right? The way you see yourself and, you know, the world, right? If you want to leave an impact, right? Those dreams that we all have, right? And, you know, a funny example that I would think of, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a superhero, right? Before I knew about all these ways of, you know, different career paths and trajectories, I wanted to be Superman. I was looking, you know, for a way to gain the powers, and also Spider-Man, right? I was a bit crazy because I would pursue spiders and almost want it to bite me, right? Because it might possibly give me those superpowers within its bite, right? Just like Spider-Man did. And although, you know, people would realize that's physically impossible, you know, to actually become Superman, right? The physics, everything. But you know what you could do? You could work out like Superman, right? You could work out your mind, make yourself super smart, right? And if you can't fly, you can build devices that make you fly, right? If you try hard enough, right? Even though it's very hard, it's still possible, right? Anything is, whoa, that shit was so loud. Anything is possible in this world, right? All you gotta do is set your mind to it. So many of the different feats that have been achieved, I'd say even with the past decade or 100 years, you know, people thought were impossible, right? Flying a plane, right? Going around the world in a plane, right? You know, doing a 4-minute mile and, you know, sub 2-hour marathon, right? So many different feats, right, that were thought of as impossible are now possible through training and innovation, repetition, mastery. So, you know, all it comes down to is that belief, right? Believing in yourself and that you could do it, right? That you have the capability of doing anything you want. People thought making $1 billion was impossible. Now there's thousands of them, right? 100 billion was impossible. Now, there's quite a few people with that amount. And 200 billion, right? That Jeff Bezos has. So, you know, it's only simply a construct in our mind, right? Those walls that stop us from achieving those goals, right? Because if those people didn't believe in themselves, didn't put in the work to make it happen, they wouldn't be there, right? They wouldn't have what they do today in terms of success and awesome, great objects and innovations that they have built, right? And legacies. And while that may seem great, seem awesome, you know, it's definitely something to want to pursue and obtain. But you have to realize that success is just that. It's just success, but it's not everything to you, right? Because what's more important than actually winning and obtaining all those different factors is your things like your mental health, right? Spending time with your family, with your loved ones, right? With those who truly cherish you and value your time, right? Because so many people simply, I would say, like, go missing, right? They go AWOL for their success, right? Disappear for a couple months and years and work, and cut themselves off from friends and family. And even though they might achieve certain amounts of success, right, make some awesome things, they might be empty inside, right? I would even consider it like the biggest failure, right? To achieve everything you've ever wanted in life, finally get it right after all the work, blood, sweat, and tears, and it not be enough, right? It's worse than if you never achieve these metrics, right? Because you will be empty inside, right? It'll rot, right? It's a worse pain than the pain of failure. And that's what people have to realize, is that failure isn't so bad, right? It's only the perception of it that matters, right? And we would even say that failure is a good thing, but we have to perceive it as one, right? For it to be so. Because if you don't, it will rot you, right? It'll make you lose self-esteem, confidence, right? You know, that's essentially what you need to succeed, right? Be, you know, trusting yourself, having that ability, that faith in you that you could do it. But, you know, if you're winning all the time and start to lose, you know, that failure can feel horrible, right? It can get to you. And, you know, essentially, many people, right, they may seem great, awesome, right? They may seem happy, their life's a huge success, but that's because they haven't truly found failure yet, right? Even, I would say, lottery winners, right? Because essentially they might have it all, right? One day they're going to work, living a normal life, and next thing you know, they have $50 million, $100 million at their disposal. And well, that can seem great, seem awesome, right? I know you personally, you know, can imagine if you were given that amount of money today, it would make you feel great, awesome. But, you know, essentially, there's problems that arise from something as great as that, right? And, you know, it's going to take a rock solid belief, right, in knowing yourself and what you truly like and dislike, because the challenge is, hello! So you have people waving at us. But, yeah, man, because picture yourself having, you know, all that money, right, and power, and even fame that would come with it. Now, there's a huge target on your back, right? People are gonna come at you with their hands open, right, asking you for stuff, right, trying to make you feel guilty if you don't, right, cave into them. And essentially, it can break down a lot of people, right? They may start giving, but their giving will never be enough to those people, right? They will rob them blind, right, until they have nothing, or they might even, you know, hurt them, right? Hurt their friends, family, loved ones, animals even. It's been crazy stories. And you know, it's crazy, right, how money changes people, right? And people chase this great thing called money, right, because they think that it will be everything for them, but it turns out that it's not, right? So our view of money is something like this. Although, you know, there may be some risks and troubles associated with it, the money only really matters to a certain extent, right? We would cap it, you know, depending on what city you're in, at $80 to $100, $120,000. After that, it's been scientifically proven that, you know, level of happiness one would have, the more money would be the same, right? Because it boils down to the idea that at that level, you have, you know, the choice, that financial freedom to live a normal life. I did not have to worry so much as we got a little bit spooked there by the police. But essentially, right, think about that, right? Think about that money, right? How free are you, right? Do you have to, as we spit a little bit, do you have to wake up and go to work, right? What would happen if you lost your job, right? Lost your house, lost your car? What would happen to you? Would it be, you know, seemingly the end of you, right? Would it put you in such a stressful position, you know, that you have to, you know, go through great lengths, jump through huge hoops in order to get back to where you were, right? That's where that stability and security comes from. That's the whole, you know, I would say, purpose of money, right? The flashy things are nice, they're great, but they're only temporary pleasures. But, you know, think about that, right? How can you multiply